Episode 420, ladies and gentlemen, features former WCW star Ice Train, a good buddy of mine, and former Super Bowl champion of the Dallas Cowboys, Erik Williams. As always, we're going to have a fun show tonight. Let's go. You know what time it is. P&P Nation, are you ready? Rich Mob, are you ready? Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going live. We're going to have some fun. Let's go!
Yeah. You already know what time it is. It's that official time. Where we take this worldwide. Let's go. Listen. So now it's time to turn it up. Surf the radio waves as we begin to burn it up. We all up in your area like landscape, definitely bringing you the pancakes. It's a mandate that you tune in. It's time to move out so we can move in and recognize that this is no illusion. I'm here to clear the air so that there is no confusion. It all started off in the book of Genesis when Jacob was wrestling with who he thought was his nemesis. And when the man saw he couldn't overpower him, he touched his hip but he really couldn't devour him. And from that point, then we hear a name change, rearrange the game, so now we gotta change lanes. So I'm here to let you know it's time to listen to the Pancake and Powerslam show. Let's go. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam show. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam. Turn it up. It's the Pancake and Powerslam show. Turn it up.
Episode 300, 420. Oh, man. It's 420 episodes, y'all. It's 8 years and 2 weeks. 8 years and 2 weeks of the Pancakes and Powerslams show. We are live and living color, getting funky like a monkey, if you will, baby. So, listen, we're gonna have some fun tonight. We got two big names. We got two big meat hook wild boars coming on the show tonight. We got a good buddy of mine, Ice Train, Harold Hogan. Man, you know what? I can't stand the Cowboys, but this person, regardless, is a legend in the sport of the National Football League. Without further ado, Erik Williams, Harold Ice Train. How's it going, fellas?
What's going on?
What's going on?
What's
buddy?
up, E?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Man,
Good, man. How y'all feeling tonight?
I'm still laughing on your 5 years. You ain't leaving the house. Man, right. It's a good evening and a tough time, in this country. It's really off the chain. This is unprecedented time. That's all I can say. Really this is different. Man.
It really is. It's different. It's unprecedented is definitely the word. I actually wrote an article today and used that same word, unprecedented, because it's very true. Absolutely. How you doing, Erik?
Oh, I can't complain. Just like Harold said, if I can piggyback off of what he just said, it's an unprecedented time for everybody. It's a trying time for everybody.
Yep.
First of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for allowing me to be on this interview.
Come on,
but
man.
I wanted to just thank all the first responders and all the people that are on the front line in the hospitals, all those people that you really take for granted until we really take things for granted like this until we have a time like this of desperate need.
That's right.
And I just want to thank those people for their service at this time.
Absolutely, man.
Amen.
Couldn't have said any better myself. Absolutely, man. So let's jump right into it, man. Erik, it's been almost 20 years since you've been away from the National Football League, man. How's it been over the past couple of decades?
You know what? It seems like it seems like I'm still dreaming.
Wow.
Amen.
I was blessed to do something that I wanted to do as a kid, but I never knew that it would go be the magnitude or be the magnitude that it has been.
Yeah.
So I'm just thankful to God, and I'm just continuing to move on with my life.
Awesome. Train, how you feeling over there, man? Big swole?
Man, no, man. Just, you know what? This is looking at Erik and to know his journey, to be a part of when he walked on those hollow grounds in Wilberforce, Ohio.
Yeah, Central State. I'm an Ohio.
Right. We
was still here.
That's right. We was some good Marauders. And I remember Erik pulled in there about 6'7". Man, he had a beautiful Jerry curl. That thing was going. He had the curl going, but was so humble. And Erik started off as a defensive tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And Erik was just born to play football, man. We had a lot of good guys. Mark Mabry, Victor Simmons, Art Hunter, Vince Buck, Mosley. We had some Pope. We had some outstanding football players, but we had a better leader in the man, my coach, Billy Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Erik's coach, Billy Joe, and we had a great president named Art Thomas, man. And our football program might have been small, but we lacked nothing. You agree with that, Erik?
Yeah, I have to agree with you.
Nice.
It was man, it was a brotherhood, and I got to share something with Erik maybe about a month ago, going into the Hall of Fame, and I just told him, I said, God, you did that Hall of Fame, now you're gonna do the NFL Hall of Fame. Nice. Because it's well deserved, and he has put the work in, and he's an awesome guy and just is humble and as cool as he was when he hit that yard. That's it.
Nice.
Thanks, buddy. I received that.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
I appreciate
That's
it.
awesome stuff, man. Yeah, when I was digging, I was like, wait a minute. Ohio. I am a diehard Ohio man. I've been here all my life, and yeah, I'm still here. So that really sparked my interest, man. When I saw Central State on there, so that's good stuff. What led you over to Central State?
Me or Harold?
Both.
Okay, you can go first, Harold. Well, I'll go.
You go first.
Okay,
you go first.
You know what? Central State University was a godsend for me. A friend of mine by the name of Darren Ox Harris, and Harold knows him well.
My defensive end brother,
yes,
God rest his soul, from Philly.
Yes.
That was my man, number 99.
Nice.
Number 90.
Soul, yes.
It was 90 or 99, but Darren can come off that end though. He give you 3-4 sacks in the game.
Yeah, he indoctrinated me to offensive tackle, but he you know, because of my grades, I didn't get any. Well, actually, I had a few scholarships offers, but because of my grades and SAT scores, you know, schools turned their backs on me. So Ox, he said that I think he had went to Central State. He was a sophomore, and he introduced the coach to me, and he told me, Coach Comages gave me a call, and he said, Erik, we got a partial scholarship for you. Would you be interested in coming to Central State? He said, we don't have a visit for you, but we do have a partial scholarship, because at the time they could give partial scholarships at Division II NCAA. And you know, it was a godsend for me. I said, yes, I want to come. I want to attend the university and get a chance to get a quality education. And you know, that's what happened. That's how I got there at Central State.
Nice. Train, where you at, man?
Let me see. How did I get there? I went to Michigan coming out of high school.
Sorry about that.
I went to Michigan coming out of high school. I heard you.
Sorry about that.
And so this, like, I don't know. It was like, man, I was a three-time state champion in high school. And a coach called me. I had 3 friends named Ralph Bland, Keith Harris. They needed to get in school. And the guy I was like, hey, I told my dad, I said, look, man, Ralph is good, Keith is good, and Coach Williams was his name. He was at Kentucky State University. I said, could you get my 2 buddies in school? He said, yeah. You go. I said, I could play football anywhere. That's how I tell my sons. So I went to Kentucky State. And everybody in Michigan was like, what in the world is he doing? You don't want to go to Michigan. I said, no, I'm going to go to Kentucky State, because, you know, black college football was really, really big back then. You know, I got christening. I had never lost a game. And we lost to Mississippi Valley State 88-0. I had no idea what had happened. Jerry Rice was catching touchdowns and Willie Totten everywhere. But I had made my freshman year, like, honorable mention Kodak All-American, which was what it's called back then as a freshman. And a coach named Coach Lemon was saying, hey, man, you need to get out of here. Why don't you go to Central State? I said, no, I'm going to go to Michigan State. Coach Pearl is like me up there. So I went to 3 schools in 30 days.
Wow.
I was at Michigan State, Eastern Michigan, and I was like, oh, you know what, Dad? I really ain't feeling the practice, and I never could practice and not play. So I was like, man, I've never not played in the game. So I was like, let me go see what Coach Lemon talked about at Central State. So I met Coach Joe, and he said, do you want to practice? I said, no, just give me the keys to the weight room. That was my exact conversation. I said, now,
you're still probably saying that.
That's, hey, Billy. And it was so funny. I said, now, my mom and dad ain't got no money now. He said, we ain't going to worry about that. You just go to class and you get me them good grades and be ready to go in spring ball. And they used to tease me up there because they felt we had a lot of muscle-bound guys. And I remember Joe Rock, Marlon Jones, like, them muscles don't play football. I said, baby, you ain't got to worry about these. And my dad came up to Central State and said, I think you should have stayed in Michigan. I said, what? He said, boy, there's some thoroughbred. I had my roommate, Kevin Pettis and Shelby. I had some good offensive linemen. Brian Hurt. I said, man, I don't know what you talking about. Eugene Cobb.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some great offensive linemen. That spring ball, I think I started off on fourth team. I was on fourth team for one play. I promise you. Coach Joe blew that whistle and asked Coach Fisher, what is Hogue doing down here? And but Fisher didn't recruit me. Common Chiefs was like, come on up here. I was on fourth team for one play. That was it. And that's how I got to Central State, man. I earned my way there. I was a 3-time All-American. I earned my way there. I love it. I love that maroon and gold. And it was Eric wasn't it was man, it was some studs up on that campus, man. It really was. It was a different time, and it was fun. And I'll tell you why I was so fired up, Chris. I remember Eric. I'm gonna jump off subject and I'll let y'all take over. I remember Eric when I was wrestling, and I think we was at Monday Night Nitro, and me and Norton had just finished battling the Steiners, and I would go watch that TV. We'll be in the show will be over. Get back to the hotel room, check that Monday night football game out, and I got to watch him against Reggie White. It was like, man, you be like, it was like watching your own brother, it was like, I would leave Nitro, like, man, I said, I don't like the Cowboys. I like 79. That's who I like right there.
Right.
I said, man, that is my man right there. And I would just love to watch him play that aggressive style football.
Yeah.
And I loved it, man. It was those years with him with the Cowboys, even the Ravens, but those years with the Cowboys, man, I used to just buckle down because I had knew Reggie White had came into wrestling. And I'd be like, you ain't got no sack on number 79. He'd be like, oh, you got to stop that today. And I would really tease Reggie when he would come in about playing against Eric.
Nice. All right, I got a question for both of y'all, and then there's a bunch of questions that I'm going to pose from the chat. So my question to both of you, we'll start with Eric. Eric, what was your best year, according to you? What was your best and your favorite year of football? And Train, what was your best favorite year of wrestling? We'll start with Eric.
For me, in college or the pros?
Pro.
The pros. I'll probably have to say that first year starting.
Okay.
My second year in the NFL. That 1992 team that we had.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably my best. That was my best. I thought that was my best year because, you know, the year before I was coming from Central State University.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, that next year, all of a sudden, there's a spotlight on me, and I'm playing against the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would have to say that was pretty enlightening for me. That was, you know, that I've had a lot of good years and a lot of good memories, but the first one is probably the best. The first year we started. Yeah.
Nice. Train, what's your favorite year as a pro wrestler?
1995. I was the first African American to win the Bremen Cup. The people who won the Bremen Cup was Scott Hall, Vader, Scott Hall, Vader, JBL had won it, and the next year it was me and JBL in the Cup final. And all the Vants in Germany, it was different because it was a lot of politics. You went out there, you dealt with men like Finley every night, Steve Regal, David Taylor, and I won that cup, and I think I beat the hell out of JBL that night. Excuse my language. Hell's not a bad word, but I mean it was stiff. It was. We were throwing some haymaker clothesline.
It's a bad place though.
Yeah, and he took it. And JBL in the 5th round took a clean pin, then didn't whine about it. Did it 1, 2, 3, and I think if I was back in WCW, I was still Eric Bischoff was still. I was getting checks everywhere back in '95. So '95 would be my best year in wrestling. That was my funnest year.
Nice.
That was '95. '95 was my funnest year in pro wrestling.
Nice. That's awesome. All right, let's get into these questions. Y'all got time for some Q&A from the chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good.
All right. Corey's asking for Train. How did you get the name Ice Train?
Dusty Rhodes, my man, the American Dream.
If you will.
If you will. That is one of the coolest dudes. He was a very honest guy. He was like, and Dusty was just a great guy. He put me with Teddy Long, and Dusty was a good man. Dusty was what I call universal, where he had no race. He wasn't black, he wasn't white, he was just a good man. And that's why I liked the American Dream.
Nice.
Always like him.
Nice.
God bless him.
You can tell that by Dusty with his soulful promos he would have.
Yeah.
My hand to your hand.
Yes. That's it, baby. Dusty was good.
Let's see. Shane, what teammate of his could have been a wrestler? Eric.
A teammate of mine that could have been a wrestler, I have to say Charles Haley.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a good
I thought you would say Larry Allen. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, Larry too, but Charles, he had the character to go with it. You know, Larry's kind of like a quiet guy.
Right,
you know?
right.
Larry's a quiet assassin. Larry could wrestle too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let me shortchange him. But Charles, as far as the overall character and his demeanor, I believe that he could have been a pro wrestler.
Nice.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis, Eric, what do you think about the Raiders and how was it playing against them?
The Raiders. It's an up-and-coming organization. You know, they got a new stadium. Mm-hmm. I think with a couple new draft picks, they'll do well. But it was great playing against the Raiders, especially when they had Howie Long. I played against Howie Long, so that was fun.
Yeah, they got Mariota now, so former Titan. I'm a Titans guy, so
okay.
He moved on over there, and we've got Tannehill, so we'll see how that works out. This guy Elvis, he's a big fan of the show, and he's like, "Are you going to be a Raiders fan now since Mariota's over there?" I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm definitely not because." I'm a Titans fan for one, and I'm an Ohio State fan. Well, I'm a Ohio State fan, bigger Ohio State fan than I'm a Titans fan. I love Ohio State, huge Ohio State fan. But yeah, he played in Oregon in college, so you know I don't have any type of tie to Marcus Mariota since he's not with my team anymore. So Corey's asking, how do I go about getting your guys' autograph? I remember sitting in my wheelchair watching you guys on TV.
Man, just tell him to reach out to you, Chris, and I'll get his information. I'll send him one, and that's it. I'll get it to you.
Cool. Sounds good.
Twitter. I'm on Twitter, Erik Williams Foundation, and Facebook and Instagram.
Cool. Plug that real quick, Eric, about the Erik Williams Foundation.
Yeah, the Erik Williams Foundation is a foundation that gives full and partial scholarships to at-risk youth in the areas of faith, education, athletics, and job training. And also, Erik Williams Foundation is also sponsoring the World Champion Football League, which is football league Little League football from ages 8 to 15 will be starting in 2021. And you can find all that information on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Erik Williams Foundation.
There you go, Erik Williams Foundation. There's the site, so go check it out, ericwilliamsfoundation.org, and good stuff here. Be sure to go here and support my man Erik Williams. All right, let's see. We got here we go. Kyle's asking the hardest team and hardest city to play against.
The hardest team to play against. Wow. Probably the hardest team to play against for me was the Arizona Cardinals when they were the Phoenix Cardinals.
Okay.
It was just
Wow,
something
that's
about.
surprising.
Yes, that's surprising, isn't it, Harold? Yeah,
It is.
great teams that were tough, but just something about playing those Arizona Cardinals at their place was tough. And when they came to Texas Stadium, when they were tough as well. I'd have to say the hardest city to play against or play in is Philadelphia.
Those Eagles.
I'm from Philadelphia, and me going to the Cowboys, it didn't get any better for me. You know?
That's like pro wrestling too. Philly rough and wrestling too.
Oh my goodness,
It is.
Philly! You gotta love Philly though. Philly rough though.
Absolutely.
Man, Philly.
Yep. All right, a few more. Brian's asking, what teammate did you not get along with, Erik?
You know what? I didn't have a problem with anybody. And if I did have a problem with anybody, we would talk it out like men. You know what I'm saying? But I really didn't. I can honestly say I didn't have a lot of problems with guys. I let my playing do I was kind of like I was a guy that led by example because I wasn't a vocal guy. Mm-hmm. In my play, I think guys respected me because of the way I played the game, and I never really had a problem with any guys.
Nice. All right, Brian's asking, Train, give us a backstage story. I'm sure you have plenty.
Man, as DDP calls it, my buddy Diamond Dallas Page, man, hey, I'm gonna tell y'all, when them blood resistant bands come out, gotta order you a set, man. You crank them things up on your arms, man, they make you so strong. It is the hardest workout that I ever done. But anyway, it was me and DDP. I had just got in from Germany, so basically, I'm on a high right now. I mean, I'm not coming. Dallas, who are you? Basically, you getting the push right now. I get in from Germany. Teddy Long say, hey, we're going with DDP. All right, so what's the deal tonight? So Scott Hall, Kevin Nash going to the ring. They hit me with the title belts. I stand right back up. Stevie Ray said, boy, you going to have heat. If I had heat, I didn't know. But I was on my way back to Germany the next day. So I was I was in America for about 3 more days, and then I was gone. And Dallas put it on his Instagram talking about no sale. But when I walked in that locker room, I was like, hey, we good? And nobody say nothing, so we was good. And we went our way. But but apparently I had a lot of heat, but I really didn't even know. I was on my way back to Germany because I really loved it over there because, man, it was like Otto Vance was like, no, we ain't doing that right there. So Otto was good, but that was the most heat. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, DDP. I think Dallas had to hit me with the diamond cutter. So you couldn't lay down to take the diamond cutter, so I stood up. I ain't sell it. So that was it. It was a rough night.
Oh, that's hilarious, man. All right, a couple more questions. Erik, what do you think about Brady leaving the Pats?
Wow, all I can say is it's history. It's a part of history that the Pats can never get back. And I wish he would have stayed with the Patriots and finished out his career because he has so much history with the Patriots. But it's like a piece that they can never get back. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's a guy that he worked hard to get where he was. I mean, he didn't. He was drafted, I think, the 4th or 5th round or something like that. And he worked hard, and he was an overachiever.
He was. I got to give it to him, man, because Michigan's my least favorite college football team, and the Patriots is my least favorite NFL team because I'm a Titans guy. But I got to give it to him, man. He's the greatest. I would say, I'm a Steve McNair guy. I'm a
Alcorn State boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's right. Alcorn State. Steve McNair. I'm a Joe Montana guy. Steve Young. But Brady, man. He put his time in, and he's just racked up championships. I agree. I think he should have stayed with the Patriots. When they were talking about he was leaving, Tennessee was kind of rumored into that mix as far as him going
So you
there.
got a little excited when you thought he
I
was coming
did,
up
I did, man. I got a little excited when they were talking about Tennessee. I'm like, oh man. I was like, Tannehill, I love you, man. I loved how you rocked it out last year, the second half. But just take a back seat. We'll build our franchise around you. But let Brady come in for 1 year, give us a ring, because I'm tired of the only time that I can have from, as a Titans fan, was Kevin Dyson being 1 yard short in 1999 against the Rams.
Man, that was tough. He needed to do about 2 more squats.
Right.
He would have scored that touchdown.
Exactly. Cool. Well, I think that's it for y'all for the questions. Okay. Here's one more. Being a lifelong Cowboy fan of Erik, if Jimmy Johnson would have stayed the coach, how many more Super Bowls could they have won? Good question.
Honestly, I'd have to say we would have won 5 Super Bowls.
Nice.
I would have to say,
that's nice.
But it's with the way that we practiced, it might have been 5. Because I know one thing: at the end of my second Super Bowl, I was so tired. I was tired.
Wow.
Because we practiced it was a game every Wednesday and Thursday. Then we had to go play on Sunday, and we couldn't recuperate until that next Saturday.
Wow.
So that's through the course of the NFL season. That's how it goes, and we practiced hard. So we could have legitimately, the way we practice, I'd say probably 4 or 5. 4 or 5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow,
now there's been a long-standing rumor that Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones didn't get along toward the end. Did you experience any of that, just as far as the locker room and the relationship between them two?
Well, I'd have to say I experienced it just like you guys through the media. I heard that they were at dinner one night and some words were exchanged, and the next thing I know, Jimmy and Jerry having a press conference.
Yep.
And Jimmy, said he was leaving, and that was a shock to me. But after I didn't find out that until after Coach Johnson left.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff. Well, plug your social media one more time, Erik, and your foundation and your website, man. Great to have you on the show tonight. It's been
sure. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Yeah. Thanks for having me, big fella.
Hey, man, this is a beautiful thing. So Ohio man on the show with some Marauder love on the show, man.
Yeah.
It don't get any better than that, baby.
It don't get better. Got some Ohio, got some Marauder love on here.
I love it.
Man.
God
and,
know what
Coach
doing.
Bobby,
right.
You better get that program up and running, so we letting you know.
Yes.
What's Coach Bobby? Let's get it running up in there. But man, Chris, it's good to see you like always.
You too.
And we got some stuff coming up, man, and we got some work to do.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
We got some work to do, man. This is great, man, to see 2 Marauders on the show. That's a beautiful thing, Chris.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Ohio strong, man.
Ohio strong on this show.
Absolutely.
That's it, man.
Ohio.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it, man.
Go plug your Twitter, Erik, and your foundation one more time before we head out, man.
Sure. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for the Erik Williams Foundation.
Awesome.
And the website is erikwilliamsfoundation.org. So all of that stuff is linked in together.
Perfect.
Just type up Erik Williams Foundation. It comes up, everything.
Nice. Train, you got anything to plug, man?
Man, I'm just laid back, man. My Instagram, I think my Instagram is either Harold Hogan Ice Train, man. I do a couple workouts on there and that'd be it.
Nice.
I don't get into, man. I'm just laid back.
Yeah.
But I am gonna plug this.
Haven't changed a
just
bit.
laid back. Hey, I am gonna plug. Hey, man, I heard you got DDP coming on the show. Man, he got some good stuff, man. As far as fitness, that DDP yoga is hard, but them new bands he got coming out, man, is awesome.
DDP Jack.
Yeah, DDP Jack, man. It's like, Erik, it's like taking a band and lifting about 500 pounds. It's awesome. Yeah. And all you do is tighten them up, man. And
I'm looking
man,
forward.
God, man, hey, man, that's gonna be good, man. You get, and tell him to send you some of them DDP Jack bands.
I'll send him a picture of my triceps. I need some.
Put that up there again. What is that?
Look at you. Look, you messing up on the video.
Hey, put that arm up there again. Let's see that again. God bless. That's a beautiful thing, man. Ain't mad at you. You're looking good, Chris. Hey, you're making a lot of gains. I've been watching you on Facebook.
Yeah, man.
You've been in the gym. Y'all, I hope y'all been keeping. Hey, man, just God bless our country right now. And man, it's gonna be a long road back, but man, we take it one day at a time. We can be back because a lot of people out here hurting. It really is.
Yeah, man.
It really is. And Erik, my Marauder brother, we chop it up. Chris, man, I'm excited. I'm working on that other Chris, and we're gonna get that joke on there. And man, we're gonna put it through, brother.
Sir, absolutely.
All right, man.
I will talk to you soon, Train.
Yes.
Erik, it's been a pleasure, man. Having both of you.
I told you the Cowboys wasn't that bad, man. I told you.
Erik's like you said, I'm not a Cowboys fan, but I'm a 79 fan. So
and that's it right there, baby. That is it, man. That's my man right there.
All right, y'all be blessed, man. Have a good night.
Okay, God bless
Good
you.
night.
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
Man, that was a pleasure to have them on the show tonight, man. That was really cool to have both of them on the show. Awesome, guys. That was a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys appreciated it as well. All right, we got some Ask Chris questions coming up. Oh, no pleasure, Shane. No pleasure. That was lots of fun. Lots of fun. Well, I think of Raw last night. Marissa. I didn't like it. I mean, Raw has just been terrible, man. It's been terrible. Last week was probably one of the worst Raws I ever saw in my entire life, and I've been watching Raw since 1993, since the very beginning. And last week was one of the worst Raws I've ever seen in my life. This week was terrible as well. I enjoyed Drew and Andrade because the story was Drew losing to Andrade in NXT made sense. But they really, because they had such a deficit, they built their entire Raw around this Zelina Vega stable that just seems thrown together. Austin Theory is just too green. I mean, he's just too green. Putting him up on the main roster is such a terrible idea. And I mean, I like Austin Theory. I followed him in Evolve, and I think NXT would have been a really good spot for him. I just think that it's a terrible idea to just have him come up that early, and it's just a bad call, man. It really is. It's a bad call. So I'm not a fan of it. Not a fan at all. And what they've been doing with Raw, it really seems like they're trying their best to fit in 3 hours with their conditions. And it feels forced. That's the problem. That's the problem with the 3 hour Raw. SmackDown actually wasn't that bad. It's still not the same, with people not there. And we'll talk about, WWE and essential business and stuff like that. We'll talk about that. But it just doesn't feel the same without people there. And it's just a weird thing. For the week this week, we're going to talk about, since my man Ice Train was on the show, one of my favorite guests to have on the show, man, one of the most motivating people that just period, man, just period. And love having him on the show, and just continue to be blessed and encouraged by him. And yeah, man, I'm looking forward to have him back on the show. Yes, you heard it correctly. Next week, we will have DDP on the show. First time since 2015. So 5 years later, man, I'm looking forward to having DDP. What a huge guest. DDP on the show next week. We got some huge names coming up the pike. So be sure to stay tuned. Once again, DDP, we're going to have him on the show next week. DDP and I have been texting back and forth. He's not a night owl anymore, so It will be a recorded video, but at the same time, we are going to have a lot of fun regardless. And be sure to tweet at Chris Prolific with your DDP, at Chris Prolific with your DDP questions, or go to the Crave Wrestling Facebook page. I'll go ahead and put a video up there, or the Wrestling Rumors Facebook page, or Slam Buzz. So go up there and submit your questions to DDP. For DDP, I will be interviewing him this coming weekend. So to be aired on Tuesday evening. Ask Chris, tell us if your training regimen is better at home recently or better in bigger facilities before the craziness. Man, I miss the gym. I do. I miss the gym. I mean, I got weights. I got a little mini gym in my home. I'm still making it happen. But at the same time, man, it's I miss the gym. I miss doing 95-pound curls and just lifting, bench pressing a bunch, man, and I just miss those weights. I mean, yeah, I do resistance training now. I'm doing a lot more crunches now. I did squats last week. I just randomly bust out 60 squats a few days back, and it was a terrible idea because it jacked up my back. My back was screaming at me for like 3 days after I did that. But yeah, I've been busting out the squats more. Still doing incline bench presses with my free weights at home. Doing a little bit of jump rope, but the resistance is not a big fan of my back. Still doing curls, still doing tricep extensions with my free weights. So I'm still doing things at home, but I just miss that gym feel. I just miss the clanging and banging. I just like The Rock would say, I miss that feel, man. I do. I was just thinking about that recently. I think about it a lot, actually. I was asked what is one of the first places I would go when the restrictions are released, and my answer was the gym, because I miss the gym, definitely, for sure. All right, what other extras questions we have before we jump into the headlines? Man, I'm totally digging the Queen pushing the NXT Women's Division. What's your thoughts? I'm not a fan. Yeah, I'm just. Yeah, I think honestly, I don't think that Charlotte Flair is the answer to boost up NXT ratings. I don't think she's the answer. Finn Balor would have helped, but they're moving Finn Balor over to UK, feuding with Imperium. He's got a match against Fabian Aichner, and Walter. That's his big feud going on now. And for some reason, they're deciding to do more of a babyface tweeners style Balor, which I think is a bad call, man. Just having him as a heel was a good move. Turning him was a good move. I think because he started to get cheered, still, especially during his feud with Gargano. Gargano was mostly getting booed, which was weird. But it's funny because people weren't so much into Balor when he was a babyface, and people saying he was so stale in the main roster and stuff like that. But as soon as he turns heel, now people are cheering him. It's just a weird conundrum when it comes to fandom and pro wrestling. Like I've said before, I think it's terrible because you have to allow the characters let the characters be characters. If you were told to be a heel, you're trying to get heat. You actually do the wrestler a disservice when you cheer him if he's a heel or she's a heel. So I think with Flair, I think taking her to NXT would help. I don't think it was necessary to put the belt on her. If you want to put her to NXT, that's fine. She could have done the screwy finish. She could have just like start beating up Rhea Ripley or something like that. I think Rhea Ripley should have won. I think what they should have done, they should have protected Rhea Ripley. What they should have done was they should have had Rhea Ripley beat Charlotte Flair and have Charlotte just beat the brakes off of Rhea Ripley. And then they do that. They have Rhea Ripley go off. If it is the visa issues as far as why she can't come back for now, Rhea Ripley should have beaten Charlotte Flair at Mania. That would have gave her the rub because she needs to be protected. She's one of the hottest talents in WWE right now. Give her the rub, have her beat Charlotte. Charlotte beat her senseless, and then that writes her off. That forces them to relinquish Rhea's championship because you could have stretched this thing out. It should have been stressed out. What you could have done is forfeit the championship, forced to forfeit the championship because she is beat up. She can't continue within the 30-day window, whatever you want to say. That causes a four-way or whatever, a tournament build up to the like you could have done 4 qualifying matches, and that leads up to a four-way. And again, you're stretching this out. So this could be week after week. So you're leading all that tournament, that number one contenders tournament. And so the number one contender, Io Shirai. And so basically it could have been Io versus Charlotte for the vacant championship. And then Charlotte beats Io. Charlotte's the winner. Charlotte can feud against Io, for a month or two or whatever. And then Charlotte wins the feud against Io, wins that takeover. And at the end of takeover, you could even do a main event if you want to, make it a main event. At the end of takeover, Rhea comes back, and then that leads to takeover for Boston. Or you could have had Rhea come back at takeover Boston at the end of takeover Boston, and lead into Survivor Series time, which is 3 months. So you could have really stretched this thing out until the end of the year. You really could have. I think putting the belt on Charlotte kind of nullifies the desire. I mean, the need to stretch stuff out now, especially with what's going on. I think putting it on Charlotte just right off the top and having Rhea lose at WrestleMania, it kills her momentum, and it was a bad call because they could have really stretched it out. All right. What else? What else we got? I agree, Kristen, in the words of Diva Dudley. Oh, my brother, testify. Yeah. Did I like WrestleMania? Night 1, yes. Night 2, not so much. Other than Drew winning. Last week, I talked about that a bit. Marissa agrees, not a fan of Charlotte being NXT champion. Yeah, me either. Let's see. Who else we got? Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano. I saw bits and pieces of it. I haven't seen the NXT's episode yet. I've been just super busy. Oh my gosh, just super, super busy. I see I'm a mental health specialist and a life coach and a journalist and a PhD student and a podcaster. Yeah. So I do a lot. So I will be catching up on NXT most likely tomorrow and watching tomorrow's episode 2. Most likely tonight I'll be up late because I'll probably watch Dark Side, a little bit of it or most of it, and then watch the rest of it tomorrow because I'm really looking forward to, I think this week is Snuka, so I'm looking forward to the Snuka one. So I'll be watching Dark Side for that. What else we got? Okay, yes, sounds good, Corey. Or you can actually just DM me. Send it via Twitter at Chris Prolific. Send it to me there. Shane, do I see the revival going to AEW? I do, of course. So basically, they revival's released for those who don't know. So they did trademark a few things. Looks like their name's going to be Top Guys. And they did change their names too, and they changed their Twitter handles and all that good stuff. So looks like Top Guys is going to be their name. I think it was a good call to be released for them if they, if wrestling's their thing, if they want to do wrestling. But I said this before, and I still stand by it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all why you're getting paid $750,000 a year. And I don't know if that's your value right now. And that's a grimy Vince thing, because they have jobbed their way into oblivion, and their market value right now to me is definitely not $750,000. $750,000, no, definitely not the case. So it's funny how Vince works, man. It's funny because at the end of the day, kind of I get the last laugh type of thing, and it's really, really interesting how that works, man. Because it would surprise me so much if AEW is going to just shell out $750,000 for the revival. It will surprise me. It would definitely surprise me. I don't think it's going to happen for AEW to shell out that much money for the revival, and we'll see. But I don't think that's going to happen at all. What else we got? Brian's asking who's going to take the belt from Charlotte. I think she'll hold it until Rhea comes back. I was praying for you, man. Praying for you. I'll say a prayer for you and your family for the loss. Sorry about your loss, man. Very, very tough. And praying for peace and blessings to you and your family in this very tough time, man. All right, any Ask Chris questions? You don't have Twitter, Corey? Okay, send it to me on Crave Wrestling Facebook page. All right, so go to the Crave Wrestling. Go to Facebook and type in Crave Wrestling Facebook. Just to search Crave Wrestling. All right, go there and go ahead and send the Crave Wrestling Facebook page a message. All right, Mike Ryan, what's up, man? Great to have you on with us, of course. Cole, what's next for Cena? Do they finally turn him heel, or do I lose hope over that? They're not going to turn him heel. I don't see Cena coming back. I see two reasons why Cena may come back. To get a fat Saudi check, but he's been rejecting going to Saudi, so that most likely won't happen. And then the option two would be for next year's Mania in some capacity, probably to put somebody over. So that's not going to happen. Let's see what we got. Spell my name wrong. Is the NWA going strong again? No, man. They took a hiatus because of they can't tape. They couldn't tape in Atlanta. So yeah, unfortunately, Power, because of that, man, has really been losing its steam. But the thing is, they did they did say like a season finale So they haven't. So that was a good way for them to kind of say, well, we're taking a break anyways. So they are into seasons. So yeah, they haven't been up and running for the last about 6 weeks. So all right. No, I've not looked at Cena's Instagram. I can right now, actually. John Cena Instagram. Let me go to John Cena's IG to see what you were trying to say to me. Optimus Prime. Everything is probably going to be okay. Okay. That is that. Wolverine. Seen as Wyatt's pig. Okay. That's that, it looks like. So okay. Well, yeah, so that I'm seeing a bunch of pictures. Am I looking for something? 1/3 of days can still get $450 each and be able to work Japan and select indies. Well, that's the thing though, Mike. Okay, so if you get $450 each, 1/3 of the dates, but they're going to want more because that's a $300,000 cut. So they're going to be working more dates in Japan and Indies. So they're still going to be grinding it out to try to get back to that $750. So, and plus they have to market themselves. That's the thing about working in WWE. WWE markets your stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's the one of the benefits of working for the machine, you know, so to speak, that you don't have to worry about plugging yourself so much, which makes sense for them to trademark the names and stuff like that and give people names, because essentially, you know, Vince McMahon's your promoter. You know, the WWE's your promoter. They're giving you a big fat check to, you know, to forward their brand as they promote your brand. So it's a win-win. It's a kind of like a win-win for both ends, especially if you're super over. So it's a really interesting thing. Braun to be champ until Reigns come back. I can see Braun staying champ until SummerSlam. Elvis, Arthur Cortez. Okay. The family of Uncle Cortez. All right. Favorite meal of the past week. My wife slammed. She did it. She did her thing. She fixed some barbecue chicken and some greens and deviled eggs. So, I am like still super duper eating clean. So my portion size is very is a lot smaller than it used to be. So I just get one chicken breast and serving of greens, which doesn't have any calories in it at all, actually. And then deviled eggs, which is a good source of protein. So, yeah, it's a power-packed protein meal with some good green in there as well. So it's good. But I love salad. I eat salad almost daily. Some good salad, and big fan of yogurt. Big fan of yogurt, fruit in it, and granola, fruit and granola. So, yeah, yep, absolutely. Eating clean is what has kept me sane over this this being away from the gym. So Eating clean has definitely kept my motivation for sure. All right. Have I watched BTE? You know what? I don't watch any BTE at all. I mean, I watched a couple of BTEs during the Flip Gordon and PCO stuff. I watched a couple BTEs around the launching of AEW, around the kind of pep rally time. I watched some around there, but I just really sporadically I'll watch a couple around certain seasons, but definitely not a weekly viewer. Yes, Shane, I did see President Trump put Vince McMahon, a group that helped start the country get moving again. The great Vince McMahon is what he called him actually in the press conference. The great Vince McMahon, WWE with the great Vince McMahon. AEW roster starting to get too big for the moment of TV time I have. I agree with that, Brian. I do. I definitely do agree with that. I think, again, it's one of those things is you're starting to get back into the ex-WWE feel, you know? They're definitely more popular than TNA is, but at the same time, it's like, ooh, you know, it's tough. It's tough when you do stuff when you just bring in a bunch of ex-WWE guys and expect them to, and the ex-WWE guys are expecting to actually get over, but they're not. It's kind of a lateral move. Sean Spears, for instance. Sean Spears, you know, he was Ty Dillinger. He felt like he was underused. And essentially, it's a lateral move in a sense. I mean, yeah, you got Tully, you got a legend in your corner, but he is not pushed. You know, he's not one of those people who's getting a push now. So, you know, Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears, there's not much of a difference in his his progression as a star. It's not. He's still a mid-carder. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really. I mean, Swagger, you know, with the inner circle, okay, you know, I think that's a good spot for him, but I don't see he's not a main eventer per se. I like that he's a heavy, you know, that's a pretty good spot for him, but he didn't come in, you know, he's not a star. You know, the stars are who? Moxley, you know, it was good for him, but he was already world champ in WWE. Who else is up there? Jericho, of course. Cody, you know, it's his company, you know, him and the Elite. You know, the Khans are basically giving him money to run his own company with the Elite. Kenny Omega was a star in Japan. He's not really on the main event level anyways. He's with Paige. And I mean, who else is really up there as far as a main eventer is concerned? You know what I mean? So I love the fact. I think the best thing about AEW right now is how they're treating my good buddy Lance Archer, him and Jake. I think that is fantastic what they're doing there with Archer and Jake. I think I was very skeptical when Jake came out and cut the promo to Cody Caesar. You know, when he cut the promo to Caesar, and when he definitely when he did that, I was like, oh man. Jake is one of the best promo guys ever. I mean, that's no question. But at the same time, yeah, you know, I was very skeptical. But when that was leading up to Archer coming in, and the very fact, again, I've said this before, I think AEW's done a better job capitalizing on the empty arenas that WWE has. Dude, they actually they have vignettes of Archer beating up people in some backwoods ring. That absolutely genius. And that made Lance Archer look like an absolute monster, a murder hawk monster is what he calls himself. And I think that they have done a really, really good job building up Archer. I think personally, that Archer, they've done such a good job with Archer that he's right now, to me, he's a main event star. He's a main event hands down. Like if he won the world title next week, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I wouldn't think it was odd. Now, Brody Lee, I don't think they've done a really good job with him. I thought that he would be the exalted one, but I mean, the way that they brought him in was a bit weird. The promo was, it was just too much. I think they should have had more mystery with the exalted one instead of just having a promo, and him coming and wrestling just normal matches. So I think that was odd. I don't think that they capitalized on that. But with Archer, I think they did a fantastic job. Did not know about MJF having the coronavirus. I do know of some people who has it, but wrestlers that a lot of people don't know about. But yeah, I didn't. So it's not on. Yeah, I don't see any news about it. So there hasn't been any reports about MJF having COVID-19. So not quite sure. Next breakout star for WWE, they can be currently on NXT. Okay. Bianca Belair. As far as NXT is concerned, probably Killer Cross. Looks like they're pushing Loomis now. He's, I saw him he's been in NXT for a while. He has the same type of gimmick that he did when he was in TNA, and it works for him. He fits that pretty well. But yeah, probably Killer Cross. As far as breakout star, I'm not too big on Killer Cross, but he has the look for sure, and I think that Triple H is pretty high on him, so I think that he'll probably be a star there. Kyle, do you think who do you think should go to NXT for main roster? I think Samoa Joe, Caesar, and Nakamura. Apollo Crews. I'm gonna keep saying that. Apollo Crews. I think if I had to choose one more person to go to NXT from the main roster, it would be yeah, I think Nakamura is definitely a good call. I think him going would benefit much better than be a lackey of Sami Zayn. And yeah, he's in a terrible spot right now. A terrible, terrible spot. Yeah, I agree. Exalted One gimmick will only last about 6 months. Write that down. Yeah, I could definitely see that being the case for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Let's jump right into it. Headlines. Here we go. All right, so WWE considered an essential business. How about this, man? I've been really following the trail of craziness that's been going on as far as the WWE being considered an essential business now. So the governor of Florida, DeSantis, I believe his name is. So I've been following the investigative journalists report on it, and the journalists from the Spectrum Sports or whatever. They've been really on it, pretty tough, and so basically, yeah, Ron DeSantis. So the order was until the 9th. There's county orders that doesn't consider WWE essential business. So DeSantis overrode that, and they're still getting like reports from the sheriff's office that they're falling out of compliance. They're people are saying that they shouldn't be taped. I mean, they should cease operations as far as taping because they're falling out of compliance. So there were county orders. There was reports that people, the county didn't consider WWE an essential business. Orange County, they didn't consider WWE an essential business. They weren't going to have it. They weren't going to have any type of WWE programming. And then DeSantis comes along and says, "Oh, au contraire, mon frere. WWE is indeed an essential business." And yeah, it's super crazy. Actually, I'm going to bring up the letter. That's let's see. The letter that was sent. Yeah, Spectrum News 13. Bring up the letter real quick. I want to read the letter. So this is funny. Governor's addendum came the same day that Linda McMahon, the wife of Vince, announced that her pro-Trump super PAC was spending $18.5 million on Tampa and Orlando markets. So let me bring that up. So I know there is. He said, I know he was receiving some information on. He was giving them information about that. There was a lot of tweets about that as far as his press conference is concerned. Okay, here it is. Here. All right, so here is the order. Yep. All right, so the Division of Emergency Management, the memorandum, enlarge this. Trying to enlarge it at least. Let me just I'll bring it up here in a bit. All right, so I'm about to bring this up because it wasn't enlarging on the Twitter machine. The Twitter machine, as Bubba Ray would say. Okay, here it is. All right, let me enlarge this joint. Here we go. All right, here you go. Here's the memorandum. All right, so here it is from Jared Moskowitz, coordinating officer. All right, so additions of essential services to the list under EO 20-91. All right, so this is Sands is the governor, Jared Moskowitz the director. All right. So here is the actual K-Dot. What's up, man? Good to have you on the show. Good for you to join us, man. All right. So as director of the Division of Mercy Management, designed the state coordinating officer per executive order, blah, blah, accordance to executive order. All right. So I approve the following as additions to the list of essential services for the purposes of that executive order. All right. 1, employees at services and programs addressing mental health, substance abuse, domestic violence, and other urgent counseling to the extent those services may be offered within social distancing guidelines. Okay. That's pretty normal. I'm an essential business because I'm a mental health specialist. So I still have to work from my office. But everything is telephone. So that's pretty normal across the board. Employees at theme park and entertainment complexes, zoological parks and facilities, and aquarium facilities, all of which are closed to the general public, who are necessary for ensuring the health, safety, and security of persons, animals, and property, maintain the value of inventory, preserving plant, property, equipment condition, maintaining regulatory compliance, processing payroll, and employee benefits, facilitating the availability of employees working remotely and other activities otherwise necessary to preserve and maintain the facilities. Okay, I can understand that too. Makes sense. To take care to maintain the upkeep of the zoo and aquarium, still not open to the public, but you're maintaining the upkeep of livestock. Makes sense. Makes sense to me. As to when they do resume, everything's good to go. Makes sense. Okay, so here we go. Employees at a professional sports and media production with a national audience, including any athletes, entertainers, production team, executive team, media team, and any others necessary to facilitate, including services supporting such production, only if the location is closed to the general public. This right here fits perfectly with the Performance Center. It fits perfectly for the Performance Center. I'm going to crop this part just so you could just get just so you can get a grip of how important this is here. That is that. Booyah! Employees at a professional sports and media production with national audience, including the athletes, entertainers, production team, executive team, media team, and others necessary to facilitate, including services supporting such production, only if the location is closed to the general public. So that fits right in with double E. And here's a statement that was sent to the news from WWE. We believe it is now more important than ever to provide people with a diversion from these hard times. We are producing content on a closed set with only essential personnel and attendance, following appropriate guidelines. We're taking additional precautions to ensure the health and wellness of our performers and staff. As a brand that has been woven into the fabric of society, WWE and its superstars bring families together and deliver a sense of hope, determination, and perseverance. Oh. I heard people think that Vice paid them off. I think you mean Vince, and you keep spelling my name wrong. Chris. I heard people think that Vince, I think you meant paid them off to still be open. Well, that's that goes into our next part that I want to highlight. So here's another tweet of the timeline. So April 1st, Governor DeSantis issues an executive order for essential services after speaking with the president. April 9th, Governor amended the order to include professional sports and media production, including entertainers with a national audience. And then on the 9th, Linda McMahon announces her super PAC will spend $18.5 million in Tampa and Orlando markets. And then one day later, the reports come out that Vincent Kennedy McMahon has decided to resume live in Orlando. So, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but that timeline is a little bitty. It's a little fishy, if you will. Yeah, it's a little fishy, if you will. Yeah. All right, my last part on this is old Trumpster. I'm about to play this of how the great Vince McMahon, and how important it is to for things to reopen. All right. And here's the thing. This by no means am I bashing Trump or telling you what side I lean on. I just think this is funny. I think this is funny. So I'm about to play this here. As soon as it comes up. All right. Here we go.
Balls. Some will be together by the way lists and some will be separate. But we have to get our sports back. I'm tired of watching baseball games that are 14 years old. But I haven't actually had too much time to watch. I would say maybe I watch one batter and then I get back to work. The NBA, Adam Silver.
So I think that's pretty funny because essentially what he's saying is, okay, let me watch one batter. Let me watch one batter and get back to work. So I'm going to watch one batter. Okay. There's a swing. Boom. Okay. I'm going back to work. I thought that was hilarious. I don't have much time to watch. I just watch one batter and go back to work.
The Major League Baseball. We miss our baseball. This is baseball season right here.
Baseball season.
Rob Manfred, thank you very much. NFL, Roger Goodell. Thank you, Roger. UFC, Dana White. Great Dana White. PGA, Jay Moynihan. LPGA, Michael Wan. USTA, Patrick Galbraith. Major League Soccer, Don Garber. WWE, the great Vince McMahon.
WWE,
NASCAR.
the great Vince McMahon.
Lisa Kennedy. Thank you, Lisa. In sports, we
So
want to
there
get
you
our
go.
sports back. So important.
There you go. We want our sports back, according to President Trump. So that is it. That is all, y'all. That is the latest news of WWE being considered an essential business. So there you go. All right. Brian, since we're not there, technically not open to the public, they're using their own building to record employees wrestle. There's less than 10 people in one arena. Well, Brian, I think that's a good point, but the only thing is that they've been receiving calls on the county of not being in compliance. So if they're not in compliance, that means that there's more than 10 people in the arena. So I know that they're making extra precautions of having like each segment. When they were doing tapes, when they were taping, they were having each segment being taped. But you're not having 10 people. I mean, like on Raw, you had the enhancement talents, you had Zelina Vega, the announcers, and Vega's clique clan, and Drew was there, and I think who else did I have? Nia Jax, Kari Sane. Okay, let me count the people they had there actually. Drew McIntyre, one, Andrade, Vega, Theory, Garza, 5, Asuka, Ruby Riott, 7, Aleister Black, Oni Lorcan, 9, Becky Lynch, 10, Logan and Baszler, 12. So Akira Tozawa, 13, Tahuti Miles, 14, Nia Jax, 15, Kairi Sane, 16, Charlotte Flair, 17, Lashley and No Way Jose, 18, Rollins, 19, Cedric Alexander, 20, Ricochet, 21, Viking Raiders, 23. So that's wrestlers alone. That's not including cameramen and the announcers. So you had about close to 30 people there in the building. So and the performance center is a big room typically with 3 rings, and you have some office space, and then you have like the workout facility. Like basically the last man standing match between Edge and Orton really, and the Johnny Gargano, and they've stretched the building out, and Edge and Randy Orton stretched the building out as far as the facility. So, but only 6 in the ring area at once. Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, again, it's one of those things that you have almost 30 people in the building. So even if you think about it, the backstage area is still a part of the big 3-ring performance center. So it is a sizable building, sure, but at the same time you have 30 people in that building, and it's not an essential business. That's the problem. So now if you had 30 people inside a mental health facility or a hospital or something like that, that would be a different thing. But you have 30 people within one building, and they all coming back and forth from backstage, and you're not an essential business. So yeah, that would be interesting. Whether if other guys refuse to work, no, not employees, subcontractors. What if other guys refuse to work? This could get messy. Yeah, it could get messy, and I think the people. I think it's fair to say that people should have the right to work if they want to or not. I think other people should make the decision that Roman Reigns did, honestly. And I think that's nobody, if you don't want to work, I think you should not get pinged for it whatsoever. Absolutely. You can work the cameras from the truck remotely, only need one camera inside. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's more, and there's a gang of cameramen that's there inside throughout the ring each week, since the taping. So it hasn't been just one cameraman. So, yep. So that is interesting stuff. I think that's and again, it goes back to the fact that they kept getting called. They kept getting called, like the sheriff's office, the Orange County Sheriff's Office was coming to the Performance Center telling them that they have been reported for not being in compliance. So, I mean, and it happened in March and April. So, obviously they weren't in compliance if people were calling and saying you're out of compliance. In the sheriff's office, the deputies were going inside the performance center and saying you need to shut down tapings because you're not in compliance. Now they're in compliance because they're in essential business. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. What else we got? Next headline. Let's talk about AEW Double or Nothing relocated. Will not be in Vegas. Location to be determined. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Brian. There's technicalities on both sides of the argument, but at the same time, listen, if you're either in compliance or you're not. I mean, you again, if you're not an essential business, you got to respect the orders. You have to respect if you are essential, go for it. But if you're not, you got to respect what is being told. I mean, simple as that. Now, I'm not I got flack from a lot of people, including my lovely wife, that I was one of those people that if media was allowed to go to WrestleMania, I was like, I'll go. You know what I mean? Like, but I do agree. I do understand, that people want to have precautions. I think the fact that we are flattening the curve. I'm in Ohio, as you know, as many people know. I am in Ohio, and we have been doing a fantastic job with DeWine flattening the curve. There's been this weekend showed a steady decline in cases. That's great. There was a Dispatch article that I read that's we're reaching our peak and we've plateaued, which signs are pointing that we plateaued here in Ohio. So that's fantastic. That's great news. So this week has been a really positive trend of where we're heading as far as the hashtag return to normalcy. So it's getting from a national standpoint, declining numbers, and then from a local standpoint, from a statewide standpoint, saying that signs are pointing that we're plateaued. So that's fantastic news. So I mean, there's some positive, there's some really good positivity that is coming from this for sure. And that's fantastic. So Double or Nothing, no longer in Vegas. The location is to be determined. So yeah, we shall see. We shall see where that goes. So they don't have an announcement, but it's not going to be in Vegas. So Mike, Double or Nothing from 2 locations, split the roster for safety, Jacksonville Hardy compound. I like that. I like that idea. First of all, I love the Hardy compound idea. They were also doing some stuff in QT Marshall's gym in Georgia. I like it. I like the idea. I think that's how you do it. It's funny because they have that what is it, Darby Place. They have the Hardy compound now, and they have QT Marshall's gym. So AEW has the benefit of literally staying in compliance, but AEW would, based on that information that I read, that AEW would be considered an essential business because they're in Florida as well. But if they, if it was an issue, as far as 10 people, and if it's still, 10 people and things like that, if there still are restrictions, look, you've got 3 options. Daly's Place, thank you. Yeah, Daly's Place. Yeah, that's great, man. So you really can do a WrestleMania 2 type of deal with 3 locations. And that would be a really cool feel to it if 3 locations were live and they did it that way, and they can have multiple people in each location. I think that would bring a really cool feel to AEW if they did that. Hardy Compound, Daly's Place, and QT Marshall's gym. So I think that would be pretty cool. I'd be interested in seeing something like that. My boy, let's see. Next, XFL files bankruptcy. So, here's the thing. Here's my take on this, guys. This is not, people are blaming Vince for this. This has nothing. Vince shouldn't take the blame for this. I mean, people were liking the XFL this year. People were into it. It had a lot better trend. It was a much more popular than the first one was. The first one was trying to, the whole XFL, Extreme Football League. So they were trying to add way too much wrestling components. Personally, I liked the original XFL. I enjoyed it. Not everybody did, but I enjoyed it. This one makes perfect sense too. It was literally a football league, and people got into it. And it was at a good spot, and it's unfortunate. It has to file bankruptcy, and they ceased. ESPN report they ceased the 2021 season, filing bankruptcy. They only played a handful of games before they had to close because of COVID-19. So sad. It's really sad because it seemed like they had some type of promise. And here's the saddest part of it. You had to fire all of those people. Like, you had to fire just a gang full of personnel and all of the football players who was making their living competing for the XFL. You had coaches, you had media, you had production team, and you had all of the players. All of them are jobless, essentially. So you have all the coaches, needing to find a job again. You have all the players, they may go overseas to try to find a job as a football player. They probably won't go to the NFL. People like Cardell Jones, he didn't do too well in NFL, and going to XFL was perfect for him. But it's sad because, what are you going to try to get a job at the Arena League? It's it makes it very, very tough right now for someone in sports to try to find a job. They're getting paid millions of dollars and they're getting paid a bunch of money, as pro football players and pro sports players, but people from XFL, you're not really getting a ton of money, and you never really did, in the NFL, because a lot of people from the XFL are either NFL players who were good but weren't great, or people who came up and really didn't do well in tryouts or knew that they had a better shot in the XFL and decided to go there. Yes, they, now the Canadian Football League is still an option, of course. But when I interviewed He Hate Me, Rod Smart, he was saying that he preferred the relaunch of the XFL because essentially during home games, his family had to travel all the way to Canada for that. Now, essentially, you do that with the NBA because you have the Grizzlies and the Raptors. So, but at the same time, he thought that it was inconvenient, for people to travel to Canada for that. So, very interesting stuff. Very, very, very interesting stuff. Well, Grizzlies in Memphis now. He used to be in Vancouver, but It's in Memphis now, but you still have Toronto, though, the Raptors. So yeah, it's really interesting stuff, and it makes sense that the Grizzlies are in Memphis now. It's been in Memphis for a few years now. Let me check and see how long it's been in Memphis now. Let me check and see. I think it was like 2001. Yeah. So they were in Vancouver from 95 to 2001 in Memphis. 19 years now. Why it hasn't seemed that long. It hasn't seemed like 19 years they've been in Memphis, but yeah, they've been in Memphis for 19 years. Evan just yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But unfortunately, like I said, you're missing all those people or jobless essentially, which is very sad. All right, I mean, Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I talked about Raw. SmackDown. Why in the world did they bring the Forgotten Sons up? To me, that was a terrible decision. Why are they bringing up people from XFL from NXT? Why are they bringing people up from NXT that weren't even like top NXT people? Now, they brought up Elias from NXT before he got world champion status, and it worked for him in the beginning, but now he's still back in that kind of mid-card spot, and he has been for a while, actually, in the mid-card spot, even when he was a heel. So that's the thing. I think NXT should really be a launch pad, and it should really be a sense of doing well in NXT and going to Raw or SmackDown because you got a bunch of momentum. If you you're bringing people like Austin Theory, I like Angel Garza. Angel Garza is a super nice dude. I interviewed him in New Orleans 2 years ago. Super duper nice guy. But I think he would have fared better staying in NXT. Austin Theory, great look, great gimmick, but again, not ready, for the main roster, Raw or SmackDown. Forgotten Sons, I mean, what? I mean, what a weird call up. I mean, yeah. I mean, I interviewed Chad Lell before on my show. So, I'm glad that he got a chance to get a main roster call up. But still, man, I mean, it makes no sense to me. Why would you bring them up? And they haven't really been established in the NXT. I mean, they usually came out on the losing end in NXT matches. That doesn't make sense at all. They're using them as a show filler. Yeah, but don't plug them to be. First of all, they're not using the Forgotten Sons as a show filler because they beat the Lucha House Party. So obviously, they're trying to do something with them, which is super duper weird. We all forgot about the Forgotten Sons. Yeah. The ramen noodle comment from Akira Tozawa, huh? It was offensive to many. And if it's offensive to Akira Tozawa, that's what matters the most. Mount Rushmore of guests on my show. That is a really good question, Elvis. That's a really good question. So the top 4, right? Mount Rushmore is 4 people. 4 people. Uh, See, there's a Mount Rushmore of like the biggest guests I've had, and there's a Mount Rushmore of my favorite guests. I'll do both of them. I'll do the biggest guests I've had. Mount Rushmore has been Goldberg, Booker T, Jake Roberts, and Ricky Steamboat. Yeah. Goldberg, Jake Roberts, Ricky Steamboat, Booker T. Yeah. 4 WWE Hall of Famers. So, yeah, I would say that's my Mount Rushmore of guests I've had. My favorite guest is Black Bart, Ken Anderson, Ice Train is coming up there. I think I'll give him honorable mention. Black Bart, Ken Anderson, probably Sean. Yeah, because he's been a lot too. JTG. Oh man, that's tough. As far as my favorite guest, interviews that I've really enjoyed the most, I really have to look at my list of interviews because there's some like Greg Gagne, for instance. Like we can just talk back and forth for hours. You know, like he was fantastic. Bear Horowitz was fantastic. I'll be having his interview up soon. Man, I you know, if I had, I mean, I guess I'll pick the 4 who's been on the most. Marty Elias, Ken Anderson, Sean Davari, Lance Archer. But I've interviewed JTG 5 times, but he's been on the show 4. I interviewed him once doing the ACH stuff, and he just came. He came on as a guest on a Monday night because we wanted to. It was kind of like a breaking news type of thing. So, with that being said, most frequent guests: Marty Elias, Ken Anderson, Black Bart, and JTG. That would be the 4 as far as frequency. Good question. All right, y'all. Let's get into the flavor of the week. Yeah, I really enjoy Nick Patrick too. Yep. You would like for me to have a Macho Man duel with Jay Lethal. Yeah. I've had Jay Lethal on the show before. Alonzo, do you want to see CM Punk in return? If so, who would you like to see him have a match first? I don't care. Honestly, I'm not really. Everybody knows I'm not a CM Punk guy. But I think him and Seth Rollins would kill it, though. I think they would do. They would have a pretty good WrestleMania match. Current WWE superstar you haven't interviewed, but yet would want to. Speaking of that, I've interviewed Drew McIntyre too. So, yeah, I'll keep the Hall of Famers up there, but. Current WWE that's haven't interviewed but would want to. Marissa Evan is he just messaged me. He fell asleep. He overslept. So he'll be back on the show. Next week, most likely. Yeah, you just messaged me about 10 minutes ago. Um. See, I'm not like super. Let's go. Because I'm thinking like among my Roman Reigns. All right, there we go. Roman Reigns. I'm thinking among my favorites. Keith Lee is among my favorite. I've interviewed him. I would like to interview the New Day too. There you go. New Day too. Yeah. Yeah. New Day and Roman Reigns. No, I mean Braun, sure. I mean, I wouldn't be excited to interview Braun. I would love to interview Braun Strowman for sure. Daniel Bryan, I'm seeing all these names, absolutely, but I didn't think about. I'm not thinking about them like, oh, I really want. I mean, I'd be so blessed and honored to interview all of. I'm seeing Leo Rush, my man. Leo Rush and I have actually contacted back and forth. There was some interest there, but he was jumping back into WWE. So, Bobby Lashley, I met him actually. I met him in Orlando. Nice guy. Aleister Black, that would be interesting because we will be talking about faith most of the time because, yeah, I'm a very unapologetic Christian, and that would be an interesting conversation. Does Taker count as current? I suppose. Yeah, I would love to interview The Undertaker. I see Corbin. Yeah, sure. I mean, again, like I wouldn't say no to like if any of these interviews were offered to me, I wouldn't say no. But again, I'm not like, oh, I'm oozing to want to interview Baron Corbin or Daniel Bryan even or The Miz, Rusev. Like I'm seeing all these names, but I would love to. Absolutely, I would love to interview all of them. But still, it wasn't. It wouldn't be. I would do photo shoots with them. Like I would kill it with the photo shoots. I would love to do photo shoots with all of them. That would be fun. Someone like a Bobby Lashley, Daniel Bryan. I would definitely love to do photo shoots with them. P&P highlights episode. Go a little bit more into that, Mike, as far as that. I think that's it sounds cool. Go in a little bit more detail. We may make that happen. Have I interviewed former divas? I've interviewed current. I've interviewed Chelsea Green. I've interviewed Brandy Rhodes. I've interviewed who else have I interviewed? Oh, good. I've interviewed Angelina Love. I've interviewed Katie Lee Burchell. I've interviewed. Yeah, those are the ones I can think of right now. I may be missing some, but yeah, those are the ones I can think of right now. Yep. All right. Jump into flavor of the week. All right, you ready? Just a short conversation of something that's going to be fun. So let's jump into it. Flavor of the week. Here we go.
It is now time for the flavor of the week.
Big shout out, man. Ice Train just texted me. Cool dude, man. Super cool dude. Shout out to Ice Train. I'm gonna put him over live, man. That was good stuff. Appreciate the hookup between with Erik Williams. Man, that was pretty cool. Okay. Now this. Now this. Now this. I would be interested in. But yeah, if y'all didn't hear what I said, I got DDP on the show next week. And working on some big names, y'all, like some huge names, some like bucket list names. So so sit tight and buckle up, and P&P Nation, y'all know how it is. Every week we're gonna have fun anyways. Buckle up, sit tight. P&P is going to greater heights. And all right, so split screen with Russo and Cornette. Now, I would be interested in that. I've had a Russo bro on the show like twice, I think. Never had Cornette on the show because I don't know if he'd. I'd like to have Cornette on the show. I don't know if he honored my PG, and so it's totally PG on my show. So, I would say PG, and I would I gotta stick to my guns. Christ before everything. So, listen, if they start flipping and flapping and cussing at each other, I would have to do a hard close on the interview. I would be interested in bringing them up. I would be interested in getting. I would be interested in putting them on a split screen interview. I definitely would be interested in that. But if they start flying the bombs, I'm gonna have to do a hard close on it. Sound bites for previous guests over the years. Never before heard stories only on P&P. I love it. That just takes so much time. If you want to do it for me, if you go to my archive of Blog Talk Radio or Player FM, go to my archives. That takes way more time than I have right now. All right. So what are y'all for the week? Real quick, guy. What are y'all favorite 90s WCW theme songs? Favorite 90s WCW theme songs. As y'all fill that in. Alonzo's asking, how do you get guests each week? Do you reach out to the agents and get their permission? What's the process? I'm not going to tell you all of the process, but I will say this. Connections is key. And building a resume is huge. Like I talked to a lot of the guests beforehand. And podcasts are a dime a dozen nowadays. So they're really looking for guests, or they're really looking for podcasts that has some reputation to it, because there's so many podcasts nowadays. When I first started in the podcast business 8 years ago, the number of podcasts were not nearly as big as it was nowadays. Now there's a podcast on every corner. And so over the past 8 years, I've maintained relationships. I've built relationships, and people trust me. I mean, simple as that, man. Simple as that. People trust me, and people trust me with the relationships that I've built to give me big names. And a lot of times I just give them my resume. I freelance at Sports Illustrated. I freelance at Fox Sports. I still do freelance at Digital Spy. I was a featured columnist for 3.5 years almost at Bleacher Report. So I have a pretty loaded resume. So I send them my resume and people are interested. So that works. There you go. My man, Mike. It's all about building a reputation for the show. Chris has a great track record of P&P and wrestlers talk. So if they enjoy the show, word of mouth. Perfect. Absolutely. Right here is incredibly 100% accurate. 100% accurate. I couldn't say it any better. Very well said, Mike. Yep. People talk. Wrestlers talk to other wrestlers, and I've heard like kind of like a telephone back to me that people have heard about my show and this first time I've talked to them, and I'll reach out and I'm like, and they'll be like, yeah, I've heard of Pancakes and Powerslams. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So it's fantastic, and then I'll text people from WWE that remember me, and they'll lose my number, and then I'll say Chris Featherstone from Pancakes and Powerslams, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, what's up?" So it's all about reputation. That's why I still to this day have close contact with WWE guys because of that. So, all right, let's see. Original NWO theme. Yes, indeed, for sure. Sting's Crow was awesome. Absolutely, it was awesome. Rap is crap. What's that? I love country music. Oh, there's only one thing that I hate because it's a bunch of crap. That was funny. That gimmick was terrible, but that theme song was funny. Of course, Flair's is a gem for sure. Now, WCW theme song. So Austin's theme song would be the Hollywood Blondes with Brian Pillman. I could do this every week, but producing TV is full time, so I live through Chris and Evan. Nice. Yeah, that's a good one, Robbie. Disco Inferno had a good ring. Instrument music guy couldn't wrestle on a pepper pack, but he was good. Disco Fever, yeah. It would do that. Yeah. Bischoff. So his was the dun 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 dun. So I'm Back was WWE 2000s, but the dun 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 dun. Billy Kidman. Billy Kidman's music was weird, like dun 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 dun, but it seemed like it was muffled for some reason. Freebirds, classic. Macho Man, of course. So his WCW theme music was a bit odd. We're going to talk more about this next week too. I'm interested in this. Oh, I loved Alex Wright's theme. I loved Alex Wright's theme music. Brad Armstrong, I was a big fan of his music too. So, all right, fellas and ladies. Matter of fact, come on, Marissa. You need to bring some more ladies. Lexi's usually on here. Lexi has been like posting ghosting though. Like she'll post and ghost. She'll come up in the beginning. Hey, Chris. And then I won't see any interaction for the rest of the time. So somebody tell Lexi to quit posting and ghosting. She usually has the wonderful questions, some of the best questions, among the best questions. So yeah, somebody tell Lexi quit posting ghosting. Marissa needs her tag team partner. I hope you're not turning heel again, Lexi. And y'all need to bring more females on the live chat. Marissa's all by herself. Marissa and Lexi are the females of the P&P Nation. They need more support. So females, as many people as I see watch this show each week, thousands of people literally watch this show every single week. There's got to be one more female other than Lexi and Marissa who are willing to interact on the show. So yeah. All right, y'all. Fantastic. Oh yes, I loved Chris Jericho's theme music. Yes, Marissa. Yes, we need more females on the P&P Nation live. All right, y'all. It's been a pleasure. for P&P Nation. Always, always, always so much fun. I knew we were going to have a great show. I said in the beginning, and it definitely was true. So 420, ladies and gentlemen, episode 420 of the books on behalf of the P&P Nation, everybody watching. I am Chris Featherstone. Enjoy your week of wrestling. God bless. And always remember, I do it for you. Have a good night, everybody. God bless. Bye-bye.